guys, and we are back. Okay, so I forget I think we left off right here. For all the times he teased Starflight or hidden his favorite scroll or whined about studying, see him as the Skyway? He doesn't talk much, Clay snorted. Ask him to teach you something like how the dragons to Pyria from the scavengers during scorching. Then you won't be able to shut him up. I'll do that, she said, apparently missing that Clay was joking. He squinted at her. The light up here was too bright, and it was even brighter when it reflected off her smoking copper-colored scales. Who are you? He asked. Are you a guard? No, I'm Peril, she said proudly. The Queen's champion. What's your name? Clay, he said. What did you mean about fighting me? Do we have to fight? Wow, she said. Are you serious? Have you been living under a rock? Or something, pretty much. Clay said with grimace. Really? She tilted her head and curiously thought for a moment. All right, that's the Queen's arena down there. She flicked her long pointed tail at the bull below them. There's a battle almost every day for Her Majesty's amusement. If you win enough battles, you go free. How many is that? Clay asked. I don't know, she said. Nobody's ever done it. Her Majesty always sends me in after a few dragons has a few wins. After any dragons has a few wins. And they always kill them. Her wings in a shrug. I'm really dangerous. I'm still thinking about this book. Looks like getting better and better into the story. Here we go. And possibly crazy. Clay thought, how many lives has she taken? Does she keep count? Does she care? What are you looking for, Peril asked. Clay had been scanning the prisoners around the circle, spotting Starflight, but he couldn't see any tiny gold dragons or unusual colors. Where were Sunny and Glory? The other dragons who were brought with me, he said. Do you know where they are? The sea wings over there, Peril said, spiraling above him and pointing to a deep blue dragon halfway between him and Starflight. Clay immediately recognized someone's angry tail lashing. Boring, Peril added. I've fought plenty of sea wings, easy once you know their tricks. I bet Tsunami has some tricks you've never seen before, Clay thought. What about the rain wing? She tilted her head at him. There's a rain wing here? You can't fight her, he said quickly. They have no defenses. It wouldn't be fair. I do whatever Her Majesty tells me to do, said Peril. But I haven't seen a rain wing. They didn't bring her to the arena. There's a sand wing too, Clay said desperately. She's really small and golden and kind of odd looking. I haven't seen any dragons like that, Peril said. But I'll keep an eye out if you want. She did a slow backward somersault and the air and tipped her wings at him. I better go warm up. Cheer for me! Pearl dove toward the arena. It's begun to look. If you haven't checked out AddieCast, you should check it out right now. So I just have to do a advertisement once in a while. Let's try to get more people, okay? Like, share it with your friends, make them share it to their friends. Let's just get more people. We're at 26 right now. I'll tell you when we update. You watched your glowing copper shape spiral down onto the sand below. A few other dragons were in the arena, sweeping or checking the walls or guarding the seats. Clay noticed that they all hurried to move away from peril. Wherever she went, dragons fled, as if she had an invisible cloud of poison around her. None of them would even look at her. Peril didn't seem to care. She strode around the arena as she knew everyone would clear out of her way. Her head kept turning toward the largest rock balcony, which jutted out of a cave overlooking the arena. Finally, she flicked her tail and vanished into a dark opening in the side of the arena wall. She crouched to peer over the edge. He hung on tightly with his talons and fought back the dizzy nausea caused by the view. The smell of dead rabbit wasn't helping. He wondered if he could hit one of the Skywing soldiers if he threw their carcass from up here. He couldn't remember the last time he did. Was it before Monster appeared? Under the mountain? Wasn't that a lifetime ago? But his normally huge appetite seemed to have deserted him. As he watched, dragons started filling the seats below. Nearly all of them were Skywings, but he spotted the pale yellow and white of Sandwings here and there as well. There was even one or two Mudwings. His heart jumped, his own kind. Did they know he was up here? Did they demand, at least if they found out, even though he was supposedly in the towns of peace? Let's see how much we have till next chapter. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So Mudwings and Skywings were allies on one side of the war. Clay had never been able to remember that before. He was pretty sure he would now. If only Starflight had thought of chaining me to a tower above gladiator fights, I might have been an excellent history student then. He didn't know how long it took for the stands to fill, but the sun was blazing directly overhead when two of the guards let out trumpeting roar. All the other dragons snapped to attention across the stadium. Heads bent, wings tipped, talons were crossed, and silence fell as everyone waited. Queen Scarlet stepped out onto the large balcony and spread her wings. catching the sunlight and the reflection of her orange scales, the fire-breathing hiss of all of the gathered dragons greeted her. Clay knew the sound only was a warning that Kestrel was about to spout flames at him. It took him a moment to realize that the Skywing dragons were hissing with respect. He squinted at the dragons around the queen. Several large Skywing guards took up position along the balcony, and two of them moved to roll something forward into the sunlight. It looked like a tree with no leaves, a sinuous, curving shape with 4 branches carved from a single spear of pale gray marble. Looped over the branches with her tail wound around the trunk. It was a dragon the color of deep red rose petals, but as the sunlight hit her, new colors exploded through her scales. Constellation of gold sparks, galaxies of swirling violet, shifting pale blue, nebulous. Excuse me. And continue. Clay inhaled sharply, and at the same moment he heard gasps and murmurs flutter through the crowd below. It was Glory, and she was even more dazzling in the sunshine than he'd expected. A delicate silver chain leashed her to the tree sculpture. It looked flimsy and easy to break. But Glory didn't seem interested in escaping. She stretched her long neck up toward the sun, ignoring the audience, and then coiled herself over the branches again and closed her eyes. The guards positioned Glory's tree in one of the balcony, in one corner of the balcony, and the queen stepped forward. "Well," she said in a smiling voice that carried across the arena and up to the prisoners. "What do you think of my new art?" "Art?" Clay thought furiously. As if Glory's nothing more than a tapestry to hang on the wall. Not a dragon with feelings and ideas and a destiny and friends who care about her. But why wasn't Glory fighting it? And where was Sunny? Dragons in the lower seats began to applaud, and soon the whole stadium thundered with the beating of wings and talons. Queen Scarlet settled herself on a flat boulder, looking pleased, and flickered her tail for silence. "Bring in the combatants," she called. Peril swept in from the tunnel, waving to the crowd. And Clay noticed that the applause was muted, as if most of the dragons weren't really sure what they wanted to cheer for her. Meanwhile, 3 of the Skywing guards flew up to the prisoner on Clay's right. One of them seized the Sandwing's venomous tail and held out of the way. The Sandwing fought, howling angry curses as the other 2 unclipped his wires and hooked them to a ring in the center of the ledge. Clay thought for a moment that the prisoner was going to hurl himself off the edge. Despite the bands that were still on his wings, but the guards gripped him tightly and swooped him down to the sands below. They dropped him in a heap in the middle of the arena. Peril turned to look at him, her eyes glinting. Clay realized with a sickening lurch in his stomach that he was about to watch a dragon die. Okay, we're gonna pause right there. See you later. Johnny out. Peace.